So I got pulled over for speeding. Yeah, I'm pissed about it, but not for the reason why you think I would be pissed. You know, inherently, if you ride a bike like this and you ride fast, eventually you're gonna get pulled over. Whether you pull over or not is, you know, another thing altogether. You can decide not to, or you can, you know, do the right thing and pull over. And considering the situation, running versus pulling over, if I had gone, it would have ended really, really bad, because I found out later on there was a lot more cops in the area, and there's no way you can outrun that kind of technology when they start radioing back and forth and everything else. It was completely my bad, because I should have known better, for one thing. I was riding on the Kangamangas in New Hampshire, and it's bike week, and it's a Saturday. So those three things together, it's just a perfect recipe for cops being all over the place. And usually the Kangamangas is notorious for not having any cops on it ever. But when you factor in those other things, you know, it's bound to happen. I should have known better not to be going that fast, but I was caught, so I mean, I'm going to take the hit. I'm not going to contest the ticket. The cop that pulled me over was actually pretty decent. He wasn't an asshole or a dick or anything, and I actually thought for a minute that he was going to not give me a ticket, but being that he was a state trooper and that is a bike week, that probably was their sole purpose for why they were out there, was to give tickets. The thing that pisses me off about it more than anything is when I was sitting there on the side of the road, he was sitting back in his cruiser writing the ticket, and he told me he was going to give me one right from the start. He didn't sugarcoat it, and you know, he told me, he said, I'm going to lower your fine so that you don't have to go to court. He originally nailed me for 71 and a 40, and he lowered it down to 65. If he didn't lower it, my fine would have been over $500, and I would have had to have gone to New Hampshire to contest the ticket, and it just would have been a major pain in the ass. So I decided just to take the hit and not have to deal with the situation of the judge maybe not being forgiving, because I mean, they could sometimes lower the ticket, but in this case I don't think they really would. He would probably, at least at the very bare minimum, give me what the ticket is, if not increase it. And if I can get out of this for 200 bucks, I'll take that all day long, versus having to pay $500 or having him throw the book at me and nail me for $1,000 worth of fines and everything else. And you know, it was 30 miles per hour over the limit. I could have ended a lot worse. So I'm just going to take the $200 hit and deal with it. But back to what I was saying before about why I was so pissed. When I was sitting there on the side of the road, he was back in his cruiser writing the ticket, and a group of cruisers went by, and the Kangamangas was full of bikes. I mean, all of New Hampshire is full of bikes this whole week, but especially today, because the last few days of bike week, and there's just huge packs of bikes all over the place. And this pack of bikes went by me, and they're all cruisers, and they're all riding by giving the thumbs up as they ride by me, because they're happy that a sport bike got pulled over by a cop. And that just infuriates the fuck out of me, because it's like, where the fuck's the camaraderie between riders? I mean, I get waves from all kinds of different riders, people on cruisers and enduro bikes and touring bikes and cruiser bikes. I get waves from all those guys, and everyone that throws their hand out at me, I always give one back as long as I see them. But there's this group of people that friggin' hate on sport bikes just because of what they are. And I don't friggin' get that. I mean, you know, you have all these different types of riders that ride all these different types of bikes, but the big umbrella that encompasses all of that is that you're all riders, you're all on two wheels, you're all on motorcycles, you're all enjoying the same sport that everyone else is. You're all riding for a reason and a purpose. And it just fucking infuriates me that people will just down other riders just because of what they ride without knowing anything about it at all. When they roll by, I'll give them the thumbs up, and we're happy that a sport bike was pulled over by a cop, and it's like, give me a fucking break. As if you douchebags hadn't done something at some point that would have warranted being pulled over. That is, the freaking hypocrisy is incredible, and it just, I don't know, it just strikes me as just pure ignorance for the most part. That was the first time I'd ever been pulled over on a bike. I have almost 20,000 miles done, and that was the first time I was ever pulled over. And of course I get a ticket the first time it happens, but I'm not blaming the cop, and I'm not blaming anyone but myself. I mean, I knew the risks that you take when you go over the speed limit on these things, and I saw him when I went by him. I knew it was a cop. But it just didn't register in my head that he was actually going to turn around and come back. And there was a car in front of me for a while that I thought about passing, but I didn't. I just stayed back. But if I had gone around that car, I probably would have been further enough ahead, so he may never have caught me. But you know, I highly doubt that would have happened either, because it was 3 state troopers on the Kangamangas when I went back through the second time. And there was one sitting right at the end. So if you were to run from a cop on the Kangamangas, yeah, you're going to get away, but you're going to have to come out at the other end at some point, and there is no other place to go than by that cop that was sitting right there. And I am almost guaranteed that's the whole purpose why he was sitting there, was in case someone decided to run, it's the only place for you to go. And that's why I said before that, you know, a lot of people don't stop for cops on sport bikes, but certain situations you just have to. And being that it was the first time I was ever pulled over on the bike, I wasn't going to not stop. I mean, I have too much to risk. I don't want to lose my license for trying to evade a cop, or get arrested for, you know, trying to flee from a cop or anything like that. So I wasn't trying to push the envelope, and I don't want to make the situation worse than it is. So I took the hit for what it was, and I'll accept it. It's only 200 bucks. I mean, I've blown money on a lot more shit than that, so it sucks, but I'll deal with it. So it's just how it is. I understand that every different types of riders are not, they're gonna not like a certain other type of rider just because of who they are. I know there's plenty of friggin' idiot sport bike riders out there too, and it goes with all of them too. I mean, there's plenty of cruiser bikes, and you know, any type of bike you can think of. They all have their core group of people, and they also have their subgroup of people which are total friggin' assholes, and they're gonna dislike certain bikes just because. And I always knew that that was prevalent, but being that I see so many other bikers that seem to get along well and always wave and everything, actually being there and seeing the other side of that just really got to me for some reason. It just, I don't know, I don't know why they think it's necessary, or why they think that any one type of rider is below any other type, but it's just a stereotype that's never going to be broken. It's something you just have to accept for the most part. I shouldn't really let it get to me, but it just really annoyed the hell out of me, that's all. In retrospective, it ended as good as it probably could have. Being that it's only a few $100, it could have been a lot more if you wanted to make the ticket more, if you didn't want to lower it. I didn't act like an asshole to him, and he was a pretty decent guy, so I think those two things combined helped to get the ticket lower. I don't think he really wanted to try and fuck me, but he just wanted to send the message that wrong place, wrong time. Because I've been on the Kangamangas a lot. That's the first time I've seen cops there, but like I said, bike week, nice sunny Saturday, it was just bound to happen. I should have realized that beforehand, but it's a live and learn, I guess. You gotta take the good with the bad.